जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जायमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Thank you so much, dear devotees, for having me here. It is my pleasure and honor to be with all of you today. Please accept my most humble and respectful obeisances to all of you. And let us begin reading today's verses. I would request Mataji, you can share the shlokas, and then we will follow, I think, what Gaurchandra Gopinath Prabhu did yesterday. We'll read the first purport, and then after that we will just read the verses and the translations. Hare Krishna.
First, the purport, Prabhuji.
Yeah, first verse, shloka translation purport, but we will skip the purports for rest of the verses. I will cover them
Okay.
in, yeah, my discourse.
Okay,
Please go
Hare
ahead.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji's kindly raise your hands for reading. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji's also. Vasudha Mataji, you can read the shloka. Archana Mataji, you can read the translation. And Sudha Mataji, you can read the purport. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam, Prabhuji.
तेन स्मरन्ति अतितरां प्रियम् ईशमर्त्यम् ये चान्वदः सुहृद्गृहवित्तधारा ये त्वाब्ज नाभवदीय पदारविन्दा सौगन्ध्यलुब्धा हृदयेषु कृतप्रसङ्गाः. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Pranam Prabhu. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah.
O Lord, they have a lotus navel. If a person happens to associate with a devotee whose heart always hankers after your lotus feet, seeking always their fragrance, he is never attached to the material body or in a bodily relationship to offspring, friends, home, wealth, and wife, which are very, very dear to materialistic persons. Indeed, he does not care for them. Hare
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah.
A special advantage in devotional service is that devotees not only enjoy the transcendental pastimes of the Lord by hearing and chanting and glorifying them, but also are not very much attached to their bodies, unlike the yogis who are too attached to the body and who think that by performing bodily gymnastic exercises, they will advance in spiritual consciousness. Yogis are generally not very much interested in devotional service. They want to regulate the breathing process. This is simply a bodily concern. Here, Dhruva Maharaj plainly says that a devotee has no bodily interest. He knows that he is not the body. From the very beginning, therefore, without wasting time in bodily exercises, a devotee searches out a pure devotee and simply by his association becomes more advanced in spiritual consciousness than any yogi, because a devotee knows that he is not the body, he is never affected by bodily happiness or distress. He is not interested in bodily relationships with wife, children, home, bank balance, etc., or in the distress and happiness which come from these things. This is a special advantage of being a devotee. This status of life is possible only when a person is interested in associating with a pure devotee who always enjoys the fragrance of the lotus feet of the Lord. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Archana Mata. Barnali Mataji, you can read the shloka. Shanti Mataji, you can read the translation.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you Mataji. Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams. Triyannagadvija Sharisripadevadaita Marta Divi Parichitam Sadasad Rupam Sthavishtam Ajate Mahatadika Anekam Mahatidyanekam Nata Param Vedmi Na Yatra Vada. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you Prabhuji. Mataji, thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji and Mataji, my humble obeisance. Translation Srila Prabhupada ki jai. My dear Lord, O Supreme Unborn, I know that the different varieties of living entities, such as animals, trees, birds, reptiles, demigods, and human beings, are spread throughout the universe, which is caused by the total material energy. And I know that they are sometimes manifest and sometimes unmanifest, but I have never experienced the supreme form I behold as I see you now. Now, all kinds of methods of theorizing have come to an end. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare
Hare Krishna Kripa Mai Mataji, you can read the shloka Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Am I audible, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji.
Hare. Text 4.9.14. Kalpanta id agilam jatarena gragnan sete pumbasvatrik ananta shakasta anke yanya bisinduruda kanchan aloka padma gragbe vidyuman bhagavate pranatosmi tasmai. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. My dear Lord, the end of each millennium, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Garbhodakashai Vishnu, dissolves everything manifested within the universe into his belly. He lies down on the lap of Sheshanaga. From his navel sprouts a golden lotus flower on a stem, and on that lotus Lord Brahma is created. I can understand that you are the same Supreme Godhead. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Hare Krishna. Thank you much. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Naimisha Mataji, you can read the shloka. And Archana Mataji, you can read the translation.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Tvam Nitya Mukta Parishuddha Vibuddha Atma Kutastha Adi Purusho Bhagavam Stri Adishaha Yad Buddhi Avastitham Akhanditaya Swadrishtya Drashtastito Adhimakho Vyatirikta Ase. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Archana Mataji, shall I give the chance to my daughter? Hare Krishna.
Yes, sure, Mataji.
Thank you so much, Mataji.
Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. My Lord, by your unbroken transcendental glance, you are the supreme witness of all stages and intellectual activities. You are eternally liberated. Your existence is situated in pure goodness, and you are existent in the super soul without change. You are the original personality of Godhead. Modes of full with six opulences, and you are eternally the master of three modes of material nature. Thus, you are always different from the ordinary living entities as Lord Vishnu. You maintain all the affairs of the entire universe, and yet you stand aloof and are the enjoyer of the results of all sacrifices.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji's. Dear devotees, I'd like to share my screen. And please let me know when you can see my screen.
Yes, Prabhuji, we can see.
Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, thank you. Hare Krishna. Om Agyantimirandhasya Jnananjana Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. नमां विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानंदं माधवं श्री Gurun Deen Taranam. Hare Krishna. All right. So once again, thank you for giving me this wonderful service of trying to serve Shrimad Bhagavatam with whatever limited capacity I have. Certainly no qualification. We are reading from Canto 4 and chapter 9. This is Dhruv Maharaj returns home. You all are already reading this. I am just setting the context for myself in that sense. From 6th verse to the 17th verse, Dhruv Maharaj is offering his prayers to the Lord who has appeared in front of him. Right? So in these prayers, first taking further higher level, there are 10 topics in Shrimad Bhagavatam, as you're aware, Sarga, Visarga, and so on. And Poshanam. Poshanam means Lord's protection for the devotees. This is one of the topics that is covered in Shrimad Bhagavatam. And this particular section comes under Poshanam, which refers to Lord's protection and sustenance of his devotees. So Dhruv Maharaj's story is a prime example of this. Even though he was a young boy, he was determined to see the Lord achieve his favor, and through his intense tapasya and devotion, he received the direct darshan of the Lord and blessings. Right. So this demonstrates Lord's protection and care for the devotees who are sincerely devoted to him. Right. So now let's look once again on a higher level first. What is happening in these verses? So the 12th verse that we just read, in that Dhruv Maharaj is glorifying the power of association of pure devotees, and what happens because of that? A person loses the taste for non-spiritual attachments, non-spiritual desires, right? The 13th verse that we read today, in that Dhruv Maharaj is talking about the direct darshan that he is having, the direct experience of the Lord that he is having, and which puts a rest to all the speculative thoughts of what it could be like to see the Lord, right? And then the 14th verse, he describes things that are not known to many transcendentalists. So we'll see in detail, but basically he's talking about the Purush avatars of the Lord. So that complete realization he's sharing when he's offering his prayers to Lord Vishnu. And then he's talking about the difference between the Lord and the Jivas. Okay. So how Lord's nature is transcendental and unique, from others. So together you will see in these verses, you will see the devotion, the importance of association, and direct realization of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right. I'll quickly see the chat. Are there any message? Okay. Yeah, my voice is breaking. Oh, okay. Voice is low. Just clearing my. Okay. So,
Little low, Prabhuji. So if I don't know about
okay. I
the
moved
very
this. I'll try
yes,
to. Okay. Is it any better now or
yes, Prabhuji.
okay?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Somewhat better. Okay. So let's go a little deeper into each of these verses and into the purport. The 12th verse, as we saw, um, it talks about the power of association with a pure devotee. And what happens because of that? Srila Prabhupada has listed down following points. The first thing was detachment from material attachments, for example, body, relationships, and possessions. I would like to share here that when we talk about material attachments, and that when you will get in touch with pure devotee, what will happen? There's a word called aversion. Aversion means hatred or insensitivity, indifference. That is not what it is. What happens many a times um, is that if a person does not have something significant going on in their life, their focus moves on the body. How are they feeling right now? How is their digestion? What they think they should be eating? And their majority of the day goes in that thought process only. So somebody comes and sits with them, they talk about that only. Today I ate this, yesterday my digestion was fine, today I'm feeling like this. This is attachment, where my major part of my consciousness is occupied by my body. And Srila Prabhupada draws a similarity with those who are on the path of yogic meditation without devotion. So they are also very focused on the chakras and what should happen, how I should keep the body, how I can, attain the self-realization through my body, because of which uh, the the thought process is largely revolving around the body only, and what I should eat, and did I uh, clear the bowels nicely or not. That's a because for a yogi, that cleanliness is of utmost topmost concern. So not just external cleanliness and mental cleanliness, even of, once you have, so what kind of food I should eat. So the life is going in that, right? The same is the case with relationships and possessions. So Srila Prabhupada writes this, and even in the verse translation itself, it comes that, such a person who gets the association of pure devotees is not attached to wife, children, possessions, which are very, very dear to the materialist. The point is that a materialist, a person who has no focus on spirituality, his goal of life is not spirituality, such a person, their direction of life is towards this only. Oh, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to make sure my home is safe, this is secure. The life is going in that direction. Okay, so it's not that, oh, if I'll get a association of pure devotee, will I stop caring about my possessions? Would I stop caring about my relationships? It's not that. It's just that uh, when you get the association of a pure devotee, the priorities are set correctly. Until you meet a pure devotee, the priorities of life are not proper. For example, somebody may be an atheist, he doesn't believe in God. So that is one case. The second case, which is more relevant for us, is that I believe in God. If I believe in God, I have, a substantial amount of faith, then the very next question comes is that if you believe in God, is he the highest? Yes. Is he the most important? God has to be the most important. Is he then most important in your life? Have you put him where he belongs? Or you have put three or four things above God? If yes, if your priority is not connecting with the Lord in by knowledge, by service, by understanding, in whatever way I can connect with the Lord, if that is not my first priority, then it's sort of a madness. Either you don't believe God exists, or if you believe God exists, then you are not giving him the priority that would be correct. So when a pure devotee comes in our lives, the priorities are set right. It doesn't mean that God is the only priority and nothing else, because God himself, Krishna himself in Bhagavad Gita, he says that you have to do your prescribed duties. You have to do your prescribed duties, and it is possible to delegate your prescribed duties to someone else, a right qualified person, and if they can carry out your prescribed duties, and if you are thoroughly done with your duties, then you can take sannyas. But then entire discussion goes on, when is the right time to take sannyas? For Arjuna, it was not the right time to take sannyas. So there are some internal setting, internal preparation, and external preparation. So external preparation means that there are people to take care of your prescribed duties. For example, if a child is just born, 1 or 2 years old, then it may not be practical. It may not be practical for the father to leave the home. In certain conditions it can be, which are covered. I am not speaking about that today. But as a general principle, if it is not appropriate that somebody else can do these prescribed duties, then you have to do those prescribed duties, purify yourself, then you reach a point. What is that point? That point is moving from selfishness to selflessness. If that has happened, and you have reached the point which is also aligned with the Varna ashram system that is set for rest of the individuals, because if you are a leader, and most of the spiritual people who make spiritual progress, they naturally become leaders in this world because they know the right direction and right goal of life, then you have to set the right example also. You cannot quit working at 35 and say, now I will only do bhajan, unless you can explain it to the people who know you, the importance of how they should manage their prescribed duties, and the importance of devotion along with that, right? So until that happens, a person is supposed to take care of his prescribed duties. So even if one is not attached to his family and his possessions, they continue to do their duties towards their family. That was the point, right? So that but you're not attached anymore. That is what happens when you are in the association of a pure devotee. Then we saw the comparison between a yogi and the path of devotional service that we get when we get association of pure devotee. Prabhupada also mentions the devotee's understanding of not being the body and consequent indifference to material happiness and distress, and the pure devotee's constant absorption. Why? What is the reason that when you get in association of pure devotee, then such transformation happens in life? That is because by definition, pure devotee has no interest in anything other than the lotus feet of the Lord. That means, what does it mean to have interest in lotus feet of the Lord? That means instructions of the Lord, instructions given by the Lord, and to take shelter or to be absorbed in the lotus feet of the Lord means to be very interested in executing the instructions given by that person. So when we say, I just wish I can take shelter of your lotus feet, means I just wish that I only execute your instructions in my life. That is the definition. It comes from Gaurang Prabhu. Personally told me after his class once. So that is that. Now, couple of practical things that I was meditating upon. One of the biggest difference that happens when a person comes in contact with a pure devotee is that they get agyat sukriti. If they don't know that he's a pure devotee, they get agyat sukriti, which is like love matra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi hoy, just because they unknowingly, you're a small kid, and they take little bit of abhishek, a pure devotee takes little bit of charnamrit water and puts in your mouth. You don't even know that. This one simple act will take that person, that jivatma, back home, back to Godhead. That is the power of association in agyat sukrati, when you don't know that he's a pure devotee. When you get to spend more time with the pure devotee, a common man has directionlessness in life. Okay, I want to be a doctor. Okay, you became a doctor. Now what you will do? Now I will practice medicine for next 30-40 years. Okay, you did that. Now it's not the age, you can't work anymore. Now what will you do? Directionlessness. The moment a person retires, okay, what would I do with my life? So pure devotee association gives direction to a person's life. Okay. From that comes Divya Gyan, learning, not just knowledge that you can hear from ears, but the transformation of heart. Faith develops when you are in the association of pure devotee. That's a very important point, because faith cannot be bought in a shop. Books can be bought in a shop and you can read them. But faith, how will you, where will you go to get and develop faith? So from the association of devotee comes faith. From association of pure devotee comes faith that will take you back home, back to Godhead. And by the association of pure devotee comes purification, from selfish desires. And ultimately, like I said before, simply by association with pure devotee, one will go back home, back to Godhead, even without much effort. Even if a pure devotee chanted Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Harinam Chintamani says, so if a person has even heard the holy names, they will go back home, back to Godhead, just once. So such is the glory. And finally, one point that I want to mention on this is, a pure devotee never gets any material favor from the Lord. So what is this disclaimer? By this disclaimer, I want to say, if we ever thought, oh, it was Prabhupada, so he could do it because he was a pure devotee, this statement is wrong. Prabhupada could do it because he was the pure devotee. This is a wrong statement. Because if you see life of Prabhupada, because he was a pure devotee, he did not get any favor from the Lord in material sense. I'll give you examples. Srila Prabhupada wrote commentary on Bhagavad Gita. His wife gave it to a scrap collector, Raddiwala, and with the money she got, she bought biscuits to take with tea. Now, if Lord really wanted to help a pure devotee, Lord could have done some simple arrangement by which she would not have given that commentary. Okay. Next, Srila Prabhupada took sannyas. The day he took sannyas, he was walking on the road. A bull came from behind, hit him in the back. He fell down. Okay. Srila Prabhupada was trying to distribute books, and for that he would go to Delhi. And in Delhi, in the blaring heat of Delhi, he would be trying hard to get just 1 or 2 rupees to print books for propagation and pleasing his guru. He would get sunstrokes, he would fall down, he would get up, he would walk back. If you'll read the struggle that Srila Prabhupada has gone through during his days, after sannyas and before traveling to US, and even after during the travel, right? They are nothing more, less than tremendous pain and austerity, tremendous suffering at a elderly age, not like a 13-year-old boy or 23-year-old boy, in his travel to US. Just think, if Krishna wanted, then he could have easily arranged one person, even Srimati Morarji, who's saying that Swamiji, you will die. Okay, let me do this. I will book a ticket for you on the plane. And he could have, got on a plane, and he would have reached in less than 24 hours. He would have reached US. Where is any special favor materially done by the Lord to say, no, he is a pure devotee, you will not get it? So one lesson that we can learn is that 2-3 lessons actually. First is that you also have the equal chance. Every Jivatma has the equal chance to serve the Lord and be connected to the Lord. Second, what made Srila Prabhupada special is not that he got any special favor from the Lord. What made Srila Prabhupada special was his desire to not give up, even if thousands of problems came on his way. And this is the most important lesson. The most important lesson is that Srila Prabhupada will not give up, even if let whatever happen. Let whatever happen, I will not give up what I have, the instructions that I have received from my Guru. I will not give them up. And this is more important than, Paramatma within Srimati Morarji inspiring her to arrange one flight ticket for Swamiji so that his 2-3 months of travel time will be saved, his health will be saved, he will not get 2 heart attacks, and he will just easily reach US. More important than that is that Srila Prabhupada will not give up on his Guru's instructions, even if hundreds and thousands of problems will come on his way. That is a better message to carry back, right? So this is something that we need to understand about a pure devotee. A pure devotee is pure from within, right? And that is where we can also be. That is our goal as well. 13th verse, direct experience and end of speculation. In his meditation, as you have read, Dhruv Maharaj was seeing a form of the Lord. And at one point that form disappeared. And so he got an anxiety and he opened the eyes just to see Lord standing in front of him. Sakshat, right? So a very important point comes, that is that we receive the knowledge which is called through Shabda Praman. Shabda Praman means somebody says that if you go to this consulate, US consulate, get a visa, do this process, that process, then earn money, get money, book a ticket, finally a flight will take you and you will land in America. So this is Shabda Praman. Trust me, if you will do this, you will land in America. Pratyaksha Praman is you follow the process and you land in America. So Shabda Praman becomes Pratyaksha Praman one day. Shabda Praman has to turn into Pratyaksha Praman one day. Shabda Praman is hearing from the authority that a place like America exists. Pratyaksha Praman is you follow the process how to go to America, you land there one day, and now it is Pratyaksha for you. Oh yeah, there was a place called America that I was hearing about from last 5-10 days. So this is what has happened with Dhruv Maharaj. He heard it from her mother, his mother. He heard it from his Guru, Narad Muni, the pure devotee whose association he is glorifying. Whose association he got? He got the association of the pure devotee, Narad Muni. So from him he received way to achieve it, how to go there. So half of the part mother gave, go to the jungle and meditate. And how to meditate, how to do it, Narad Muni gave it. This Shabda Praman became Pratyaksha Praman for Dhruv Maharaj. Srila Prabhupada in his purport, he says, first Dhruv Maharaj says that he had seen various species of life, but they are all different, right? And who can see the Lord? So here a comparison with different paths come. A jnani leaves this world by the power of renunciation, by the power of knowledge, and that results in Brahman realization. This will come in next verse where I will stress on another point. A yogi knows that Lord is sitting within his heart, and that's why he gets Brahman realization as well as Paramatma realization. And so Karma Yoga culminates into Dhyan Yoga, and by that process of Dhyan Yoga, he can get out of this universe. Both of these, they can get out of this universe. A Jnani and a Dhyani, Ashtanga Yogi, they both can come out of this universe. But Bhakti is the only way from where because these two are analytical, and analytical way of looking at what you can see and analyzing and trying to get out of this. Okay, it is comparable to an ant which is scrolling around a computer, and the maximum it can get in its life is that there is a light screen, there are some buttons, and there's a screen. But if there is Java code written in it, or something else, the ant can never get to know that unless someone from outside comes and tell it to the ant. It is not observational. You cannot observe and find. So the point that I'm trying to make is, if a person is looking at this world and observing this world without an authority telling that there is God existing outside this universe, there is no way that simply by looking at this universe you will reach a conclusion Vasudevam Sarvamiti. Okay, it will never happen. You can never reach a conclusion that there has to be a God behind this, and that is Krishna. It will never happen. So it is impossible to understand Lord's true form without someone coming and giving us aparusheya knowledge, right? Aparusheya, descending knowledge. Someone from outside comes and gives us that knowledge. So that point has been stressed. Natural position of living entity as a servant of the Lord has been mentioned by Srila Prabhupada. The limitations of serving material forms or abstract concepts like voidism, so if you don't serve God, then you serve dog, but it will not make you satisfied, and same is the case with Shunyavad, that you are a servant by nature. You like to serve others and feel joy in that, but you will not be able to experience it as long as you are doing it against material forms and material abstract concepts. So Dhruv Maharaj's realization of Lord's transcendental form comes because of Lord's grace. And why Lord gives him the grace? Because he pleased his guru. He did exactly what Narad Muni had asked him to do, and that is the reason Dhruv Maharaj has received the grace of the Lord. Okay, this point will come on the next verse. I think I'm covering. What I'm covering over here is that why Dhruv Maharaj received Lord's darshan? Because Dhruv Maharaj pleased Narad Muni, his guru, by following Narad Muni's instructions. Okay, that's why he got this. And practically detachment from sense objects. Okay, this is a big topic. And attachment to Krishna. Yes. So if you see, there are two aspects of goal of life. The goal of life has two very important aspects. The first is understanding the Lord and trying to develop attachment with the Lord, connecting with the Lord. And then the second very important part is detachment from this world, detachment from material world, detachment from objects of senses, Detachment from objects of senses means detachment from gulab jamun in that sense, right? So attachment to Krishna and detachment from this world. So what happens is, even if you have taken on the path of bhakti, if you are not consciously trying to detach yourself, then the Lord is so merciful that He will create situations because of which you will lose faith and interest, and you will be disappointed with the material world. But if you have done Guru Avagya in past lives, if you have not surrendered properly to Guru in past life, it may happen little too soon. And if that happens, that is very unfortunate situation. I'll give you an example. A person comes to the temple. He comes with an expectation. The temple means everybody should be like pure devotee, especially the pujaris and anybody who represents the temple, anybody who represents Lord. And if the truth is that there are very few pure devotees, everybody else is like a patient in the hospital. So if they get a bad experience on day one, somebody scolds them or somebody says, hey, what you are doing, or does not treat properly, or does anything that Lord would not do in that situation according to them, they would develop an aversion. Oh, this temple, why should I go there? Or, oh, how are people over there? I will never go there. This is very unfortunate. It happens because I have done something in the past because of which I got this. For the lucky ones, for the fortunate ones, we get in touch with the devotees and we are not averse to them. We are not hateful towards them. So when they give us all Parushaya knowledge that nobody else could have given us, we are able to accept that and we start the process. And now when we start the process, now when Lord starts giving us that mercy of showing us the imperfections of this world, it gives us an opportunity to detach ourselves from certain ideas. For example, our ultimate shelter should be Krishna and Guru. The practicing devotees, like very nicely presented by Gaur Chandra Gopinath Prabhuji yesterday, it is very important with the practicing devotees to have the right attitude of dealing with practicing devotees. You try to take those things from that association that nourish your bhakti, which increases your attachment to Krishna. And at the same time, you have to practice that discriminatory intelligence. You need to have that discrimination. What is written in the Shastras and what is not according to the Shastras. And you have to be compassionate enough to understand that the practicing devotees are not pure devotees. So you have certain abilities because of which you can do something very nicely, and you have some inabilities because of which you cannot do certain things nicely in devotion. Same ways, all other practicing devotees, they can do something in devotion nicely, and there are certain things they cannot do nicely. So if I can cook very nicely, and if somebody doesn't cook nicely, I would be like, what kind of devotee you are? You can't even cook. That is wrong. That is wrong attitude. I chant very nicely in the morning, close my eyes, open only after 2 hours. What kind of chanting this person does? This is very bad. This attitude will not help us move forward. So we have to accept the imperfections of others, and that ways we can also develop detachment from this world, that this is not the final place. There are problems in this world. The problems belong to this world. The problem belongs to modes of material nature. The problems and sufferings belong to this world, and that's why with the same set of devotees who may be apparently troubling me right now, I want to be with them in the spiritual world, because I know they will be different, I'll be different. We would all have love of Krishna with us. So detachment from this world comes when Guru's grace is there, and our attitude should be like that, that we take those opportunities to detach from this world. The 14th verse, here, Dhruv Maharaj starts in his prayers glorifying the Lord by saying that the cosmic dissolution happens, and then it gets created because of your form of Garbhodakshai Vishnu, who's lying on Ananta Shesha, and then a lotus is sprouting from there, and Brahmaji is sitting on that. So, first point, very important point, is that does every seeker achieve complete realization? Does everybody who gets liberated from this world, they attain the knowledge, the kind of knowledge Dhruv Maharaj is giving? Answer is no. So like I said earlier, Jnanis just get out of the universe with a Brahman realization. They do not know what lies beyond Brahman. Yogis who attain perfection by Ashtanga Yoga meditate on the Paramatma sitting within the heart, and that's why at the end of the life they may be able to see Paramatma, but because they have not served with devotion, they cannot enter Vaikuntha and serve the Lord in some relationship, because they don't even know a concept like that exists. Okay. Then some devotee asked me, and I was meditating upon this. There are many people in India who worship Krishna, and their process and their practices, their sadhana, may be better than many of us. Like on Ekadashi, even one day before Ekadashi, they stop eating grains, because on the day of Ekadashi, there should not be any grain in the stomach. That level of standard they follow. Okay. And they serve the Lord, they serve the deity form of the Lord, they chant and do everything, but they do not have a guru. They do not have a guru. They have not taken Diksha. So some devotee was asking me what would happen in that case, how to understand this. And after meditating upon this for a very long time, I realized that this is like trying to please Krishna directly. There is no guru. Means all your activities you are doing expecting that one day Krishna will be pleased. This standard, my dear devotees, is extremely high, and if really Krishna is pleased by that, they will give opportunity to such devotees time and again, that something should happen in their life because of which they should be able to connect with the devotees, through them connect with the guru and take initiation. That's the best that can happen. Because to please Krishna directly is practically impossible. To please a Vaishnava is super easy. To please a pure devotee of the Lord is super easy. Srila Prabhupada has simply said, if you chant Hare Krishna, I'll take you back home, back to Godhead. You are a devotee, so you may know a few more rules of 4 regulative principles, 16 rounds of minimum, and this, that. Let me tell you, Srila Prabhupada will take anybody back home, back to Godhead who can chant Hare Krishna mantra. He will take them back. That is the standard, because there is no limit to the mercy of Nityananda and no limit to the mercy of the representative of Nityananda, that is Srila Prabhupada. So he will take us easily back. This is not possible for person who does not have access to a pure devotee. Then you are on your own. Just like Jnani, it is very difficult to get out of this universe. Yogi, very difficult in this age. Somebody trying to do bhakti independently, practically impossible to attract the mercy of the Lord. So here Dhruv Maharaj had mercy of Narad Muni, who is a pure devotee of the Lord. And that is why not only Lord appeared, he placed the conch shell on Dhruv Maharaj's forehead, and because of which now non-speculative knowledge, even the knowledge that Dhruv Maharaj was also a yogi, Ashtang yogi. So whatever he had attained by Ashtang yoga, which was he was seeing the Paramatma within his heart, from there he got this additional information which is not available to a yogi. He got that additional information because he got association of Narad Muni. So that is why he is able to glorify the Purush avatars of the Lord. Garbhodakshai Vishnu is talking about, who's lying on Ananta Shesha Brahma. So he has gotten that realization. And that's why by Lord's mercy, Srila Prabhupada says that the knowledge that he has received is complete. Yasmin vigyate sarvam eva vigyatam bhavati. So contrast between understanding of devotees and atheists, then Srila Prabhupada also tries to address this, that the atheists do not understand the Purush avatars, how can a lotus come out or whatever, and because of that they don't have faith in scriptures. Because they don't have faith in scriptures, their atheism increases. But somebody like Dhruv Maharaj, who has attained the mercy of a pure devotee, he is able to develop that faith further, and understand this. So that is why there is a necessity of associating with devotees to understand the transcendental realm. Okay. Practically, then we can understand that Krishna says, Yomam pashyati sarvatra, sarvam cha mai pashyati. One who sees me in everything and everything in me, for that person, I am never, lost, and neither that person is ever lost to me. So this is not a sentimental statement. This is not a sentimental statement, because the Lord's three forms, Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagwan, they belong to Krishna. They belong to Krishna. And there's a very interesting aspect which is still inconceivable for me. But that emotion, that understanding is, see what a wonderful connection here. In the last few days of his meditation, Dhruva, first he was like, he was reducing his ahar, basically, his portion. He was reducing that. He was reducing his portion or ahar. He first stopped eating. He switched to roots. Then he stopped drinking. So he was only taking roots and fruits. Then he stopped that. Then only roots. Then he stopped that. Then only water. And then he stopped that. Then only air. And last few days he stopped that. And he stopped breathing also. There's a very strong relationship between this body and the universe. If you try to get out of this universe, there are two ways. You can get an aircraft or a rath, chariot, and you can directly just go out and try to get out of this universe. Has anybody done that? Yes. An example comes where Krishna was on his chariot with Arjuna, and they are looking for that 5 babies, and they go out of this universe. And then there are descriptions given that even with Krishna and Arjuna on that chariot, there was so much darkness in the layers of universe that with Sudarshan Chakra, Krishna had to invoke. With that light, the chariot could go further. And then they came out of the layer of this universe. Okay. And what is the other way you can do that? You can simply go within, and from there you can get out of this universe. There's a very big, deep relationship between a yogi, an Ashtang yogi's way of connecting with Paramatma, which is outside the universe, and the gross way of trying to materially get out of this universe. And an indication of this connection is given over here, that Dhruva stopped breathing and demigods started suffocating. It's inconceivable. I don't know, but I'm sharing that inconceivable aspect with you that we should notice this. Notice that Dhruva stopped breathing, so demigods are suffocating. What kind of this relation is with something within a person and this entire universe? And what is that indication? That liberation can be outward, which is practically impossible, but inward it is possible. And both of these are very difficult. It's easy if you get in touch with a pure devotee. Okay, so that is the glory of how easy it is to do this, to get out of this universe, simply by following, taking shelter of the lotus feet of a pure devotee. That is the point I was trying to bring up. That brings us to the last verse, differentiating between the Lord from living entities. Uh, here Dhruv Maharaj emphasizes on the fundamental difference between Lord and ordinary living entities. He glorifies Lord, how he's eternally liberated, Nityo Nityanam, Chetanas Chetananam, right? Lord is omniscient, he is above the three modes, he is the super soul, whereas living entities are the parts and parcels, right? And uh, the different origins of their appearance in the material world, one is coming because of his internal potency. We are coming because we are fallen. So those parallels have been drawn. And finally, Srila Prabhupada ends the purport by saying that Mayavadis, because they do not have interest in devotional service, they are not able to comprehend this, and that's why they give this up. So we looked at the role of a pure devotee in our life. The role of practicing devotee I mentioned a little bit, and the power of prayers. I'll just end with a story here. Here Dhruv Maharaj is praying to the Lord. Prayer usually has these couple of things. First is that you humble yourself in front of whomever you are praying. Then you recognize them uh, and appreciate them and glorify them with their form, with their qualities, and their leela. And then there is a request, and that request sometimes is for oneself, and sometimes it is for others, right? And uh, who goes back to God? A selfish person will go back to God, or a selfless person will go back to God. A selfish person will never go back to God, because Krishna will not allow a selfish person to be among his pure devotees, who is just exploiting all the pure devotees by saying, okay, today I need gulab jamun, today I need this, today I need that, and all these kalpavrikshas, pure devotees, they are continuously just filling him up with his desires. So that is impractical, and that will not happen. So a person who is selfless and is ready to serve others as a das anudas, that servant attitude takes us closer to Krishna, right? And that's why from selfishness to selflessness, there should be a transition in our prayers also. We should pray for ourselves, but we should also pray for others, and that is a very important aspect of prayers, right? So you must have heard this story, but I would like to remind myself with this. I was trying to look for it. I couldn't find the names and references, but there's this story that there was a doctor, and uh, for some surgery or whatever, or maybe there was a conference for that, he was driving, and he was driving between two cities, and then they took one scenic route, they say, right? So the city, from the small towns, his car was passing by, and then it started raining very heavily, and it started raining so heavily that the visibility got very poor, and so they had to stop the car. And then somehow he saw that there is a small house somewhere, and there's little light is coming from there. So this doctor, he went to that door, and he knocked, and he was like, can you give us some shelter? Our car needs something, maybe this, that, or whatever. And that's how he just ends up knocking on that door. And so this old lady opens the door. She welcomes this person inside, and then some introductions start. Okay, so who are you? And he says that I'm a doctor for, like, blood cancer or something. And I was going for this conference, but then it started raining and everything, so I got stuck over here. So thank you so much for giving us a hot drink and all this. And that lady was shocked, and she was just looking at this person, blank faced. And then he says, what happened? And she says that um, prayers come true. Prayers come true, because here's this child, and he's suffering from this disease, blood cancer, whatever that doctor was an expert on. And every day I was praying to the Lord that we are in such a small town and we don't know any doctor. How would this happen? Lord, please do something. And today Lord has sent you over here. And when he heard this, he was shocked how it could have happened that he landed over there. And then he agreed to treat that child, you know. So I've heard this, I believe, in some discourse on power of prayers only. So so that's why I just wanted to share that prayers attract the mercy of the Lord, even though Lord knows everything, but it's all about reciprocation. It's about love, and that's why we should pray, and connect with the Lord like that. So with that, I will stop here. Went little overboard. My apologies for that. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Wonderful class, Prabhuji. And so many key points like how to associate with a pure devotee, and we should never judge a pure devotee or not. We should treat everyone like pure devotee, and that is our benefit. That will be our benefit, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Mataji's or Prabhuji's. Any doubts? Please raise your hands, Mataji's or Prabhuji's. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for the wonderful discourse, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. No more questions, Prabhuji, so we can end the session, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Wonderful
so
class,
much.
Prabhuji.
Yeah,
I made a notes. Usually, I never make notes, Prabhuji, because I never practice only. So that is what I always think, Prabhuji. Even if at that right moment, that never comes to my help, Prabhuji. So I never make notes. But today, the class was so nice, and I could connect it personally. It's my feeling, Prabhuji. So and I made a notes. And it's very nice, Prabhuji. Very nice class. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Hare. Pranam. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrand ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Sri Gurudev ki jai, Granth Shrimad Bhagavatam ki jai. All glories to you, Prabhuji. All glories to the assembled devotees, Mataji and Prabhuji.
Is all
Hare
good.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Dandavat pranams, Prabhuji. Mataji.
Shall I end the session, Prabhuji, with all your permission? Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Thank you, Mataji.